If it was held there, and it's squeezed quite hard.
Did that hurt when he put his hands down your throat? What do you think he did?
This is 7-year-old Rachel Watts. Just hours before this footage was recorded, Rachel was found wandering alone near Devil's Dyke Road. She was naked and covered in bruises. When approached by those who found her, her first words were, "Are you going to kidnap me?" 3 days later, Rachel is standing behind a one-way mirror, looking at a lineup of suspects. When police asked her to point out the man who did this to her, she says, "It's number 9, and police are shocked. October 10th, 1986, 3 years earlier, 2 9-year-old girls have been missing for the last 24 hours when their bodies are found by these 3 men. The one in the brown shirt is Russell Bishop, the same man Rachel picked out of the lineup. When Bishop is arrested in 1986, police are convinced he killed those 2 girls. After a 4-week trial, Bishop walks free. For more than 30 years, the identity of the Babes in the Wood killer would remain a mystery until one 7-year-old girl who survived will come back to take him down. The year is 1990. In a suburb of Brighton called Whitehawk on the southern coast of England, 7-year-old Rachel is living a happy life with her loving parents, Jenny and Peter. On that particular day, Rachel is out roller skating while her dad is working in the front garden. She asks him for money to go buy a chocolate bar at the local candy store. It's around 4 p.m. when Rachel rolls away in her white roller skates. Just a little over an hour later, Rachel's parents are beginning to worry that she hasn't come home yet, when suddenly there's a knock at the door. It's the police. Rachel is in the hospital. She was found by a couple on Devil's Dyke Road, over 7 miles from her home.
I saw her come out from behind this bush. She was completely naked, kind of hands like this and crying. Her hair was all disheveled. There was blood in delicate places that I couldn't care to mention. I jumped out of the car and ran towards her, and she said to me, "Are you gonna kidnap me?" And I said to her, "No, we're here to help you. You're gonna be okay."
It's clear to the couple what happened to her, and they're horrified. They rush Rachel over to the closest house and call the police.
When the police officer came, she just said, "Am I Mum?" I said, "Yes." That was when she said Rachel was in the hospital. Sorry, it's still raw now, even after all these years.
Rachel's mother, Jenny, rushes over to the hospital in Brighton, where she's met by police officer Deborah Wood. Before she's allowed to go see her daughter, Jenny is asked to do the impossible. She's told she cannot show her daughter she's upset, or it may cause her to shut down, and for now, police still need to interrogate her.
Debbie said, try and be strong. Try not to show any emotions. She was sitting in bed with a colouring book. And I just sat there with her while she coloured.
And I'm going to ask you in a moment whether the person whom you saw on that day is here.
3 days later, Rachel is asked to identify her attacker. Police have arranged a lineup consisting of 1 suspect and 9 lookalikes. One of them is a man named Russell Bishop, someone police have accused of murder before. But in 1987, after being acquitted of all charges against him, Russell Bishop walked free. It all starts on October 9th, 1986, the day Karen Hadaway and Nicola Fellows go missing.
What time were they last seen?
At about 5:30. It's not like her to go too far away unless she's going usually to a friend's house.
And who am I speaking to now, Mrs.
Hadaway.
Who's the other mother, Mrs.
Mrs. Fellows.
Right, and they're 2 9-year-old girls?
2 9-year-olds.
Over 150 police officers and neighbors of the families have been searching the large wooded area near the girls' homes. But after nearly 24 hours with no sign of them, people are beginning to lose hope they'll be found alive. The story gains national attention, and Karen and Nicola's parents go on television to ask the public for help.
Did she ever run away from home before?
Well, she hadn't.
So you don't think that they just run away for fun? No, if they are, they're up to something mischief, but what I can't think.
Just gone. And Nikki, they're both. The only way they've gone is if someone's picked them up.
Come home, darling, please. Daddy's not going to tell you off. Just come home, please, now.
It's 4 p.m., October 10th. Police officer Paul Smith is walking towards Wild Park, just a few streets down from where the two girls live, when he has the strangest encounter.
I was doing house-to-house inquiries, and as a result of a radio message, I went across to the other side of the road, which is Wild Park. This voice behind sort of shouted, "Oi, what are you doing?"
The voice is that of Russell Bishop. Russell lives in Molescombe and is close to the families of the two girls. He's part of the search efforts and has been walking around with his dog.
And he said to me, "We've been tracking all day, but it's getting late now and we're going to give up." So I said to him, no, we've got to keep looking. And he said, "Well, if I find them and they're dead, I'll get Nick, won't I?" And it was quite strange. I mean, why did he say that? What made him say that?
Bishop is known by the police for his petty criminal history, car theft, shoplifting. Everyone around the estate considers him to be a bit of a joke, but his comment doesn't go unnoticed. As the men are walking back into Wild Park, they hear two boys screaming the words, "We found them! We found them!" Russell Bishop runs off toward the voice, faster than Officer Paul Smith can catch up.
I said to Bishop, "Look, you keep them away from the girls and you keep away from the girls." I was right behind him, and I got there and stepped between him and the two girls. They were there as if they were sunbathing. Nicola Fellows was on her back with one knee up, and Karen Hadaway was laying on her stomach with her arm round as if she was asleep. They were arranged like that. I went across to them and I took their pulse, and sorry, it still gets me. I took the pulse and they were stone cold dead, like pieces of marble.
One of the police officers come and told me that, yes, she's been found. And I said, "Oh, great, you know," and I said, "Has anything happened to her?" Saddest day of my life. That I lost my daughter.
I was actually in the park and they were found. And when I see the tapes come out, I just knew that something bad. You know, I just collapsed in a heap on the floor.
The worst thing I ever had to do in my life was go down and identify her. I had 50 pence, right? So that she pocketed me, darling. I had to walk away.
The crime has a devastating effect on the community. Everyone is terrified for their own children. Detectives interview over 10,000 people in what will become the largest murder hunt in Sussex. One name keeps coming up.
Russell Bishop was always a person of interest. Everybody was saying, "Why is he doing this? Why has he done that?"
Bishop is known to both families, so the girls knew him very well, which means it wouldn't have been hard for Bishop to convince them to follow him into the woods. There were multiple sightings of Russell Bishop in and around the area at the time the girls went missing. What's more, one witness says they saw Bishop wearing a blue sweatshirt that night. The description matches that of a blue sweatshirt which was found discarded on a trail close to where the bodies were found. And that trail leads to Russell Bishop's house.
On the blue sweatshirt, there were ivy spores that were consistent with where the girls had been found, but inconsistent with where it had been dumped. There were traces of fibres from the girls' clothing on the sweatshirt. It became very clear that whoever had murdered Nicola and Karen had been wearing this sweatshirt at the time they did that.
In order to confirm they have the right suspect, detectives have to connect Russell Bishop to that sweatshirt. But in 1986, DNA science is still in its infancy. However, forensic analysis reveals the red stains on the sweatshirt are not blood, but a very specific type of paint, the same red paint Bishop was seen using on two of his friends' cars. This could indicate it was in fact Russell Bishop's sweatshirt, but they need to be sure. As Russell Bishop is being interrogated by police at the station, officers take the blue sweatshirt to his house, where they're greeted by Russell's girlfriend, Jenny Johnson. The first thing she says when she opens the door is, "Oh, you've brought Russell's sweatshirt back." Jenny has no idea that she has just incriminated her boyfriend. The two officers take a sworn statement from her, which she signs without hesitation, proving that Russell Bishop owned the sweatshirt that was worn by the girl's killer.
And we thought, this is it. He's guilty of having killed these two children.
Thought that there was sufficient evidence to convict.
Bishop was the murderer. No doubt whatsoever.
On December 4th, Russell Bishop was charged with the murder of the two girls. Since that time, he's continued to deny both killings.
I thought, it can't be him. Why would it be him? He comes to the house all the time. I play football with him on Sundays.
Never think somebody who you knew would actually come along and do such a terrible thing.
November 1987, more than a year after the murders, Russell Bishop's trial begins. The entire country is watching. Everyone wants to see justice for the girls they call the babes in the wood. And the prosecution is convinced they have a strong case. But there's one thing they couldn't have accounted for. When Jenny Johnson, Russell Bishop's girlfriend, takes a stand, she changes her entire story.
Jenny Johnson made a statement to the police that sweatshirt was owned by Russell Bishop. And in court, turned around and said, Russell Bishop never owned that sweatshirt. She said to the court that she was forced to sign this statement. The police forced her to sign it.
The prosecution knows Jenny Johnson is lying under oath to protect her boyfriend, but they have no way of proving it. Because the blue sweatshirt can no longer be linked to Bishop, the defense argues that almost anyone could have killed the two girls. The case falls apart. After 4 weeks of trial, the jury is asked to deliberate.
The man who had been accused of murdering two schoolgirls from Brighton has been found not guilty.
Not guilty, lads! Yay!
Everyone was just stunned. What could possibly have gone wrong? We knew that it was Bishop. Everybody knew that it was Bishop, yet he'd walked free.
In 1987, there's a law called double jeopardy, which states that a person cannot be tried twice for the same crime. Once acquitted, Russell Bishop can never be tried again for the murders of those two little girls, even if police could find irrefutable proof that he is the killer. As Bishop leaves the courtroom, he puts his hands in the air and shouts, "I'm innocent." He then rushes through the line of reporters to go celebrate at the pub across from the courthouse with his brothers and his girlfriend. The Hadaway and the Fellows families are devastated. They know they will never see justice for Karen and Nicola.
You feel like everyone's laughing at you, you know? You feel like they're looking at you and thinking that those little girls' lives were worthless.
I was so angry. I thought, but who the hell could have done it then?
It's less than 4 months since Russell Bishop was cleared of murdering Karen Hadaway and Nicola Fellows. Since the trial, Russell Bishop has been trying to readjust to family life.
As months pass, a wrongfully accused Russell Bishop takes the spotlight while the country forgets about the real victims. The Sussex police are convinced that Russell Bishop is guilty and that they had the right man. But with the double jeopardy law, there's no use in them continuing the investigation. This angers the public, and everyone is demanding answers.
The parents of Nicola and Karen are determined that the case shouldn't be dropped.
There's two little girls in a cemetery up in Brighton, and if only for them, we've got to get to the bottom of it.
50 people set off in a march from Brighton's Wild Park. As part of the protest, a petition was handed to the police, calling for the case to be reopened.
I'm adamant that my daughter's killer should be found. I won't rest till this man or people are brought to justice.
August 19th, 1989, the parents organize a march to force Sussex police to reopen the case. Among those who participate in the protest is Russell Bishop.
I suppose some people might be surprised that you're now linking up with the parents of the two murdered schoolgirls, having been accused yourself of their murder.
People are very surprised. People keep asking me, why do I keep on and on and on? The fact is, I want to see this case reopened. My name isn't cleared until someone else is brought to justice, the real person.
Everybody that knew anything about the case was sickened by seeing him behave like that. If he had any sense of decency, he would have shut himself away, but he had to put himself front and centre.
Everyone can see that Russell Bishop is using the protest, organized by the families of the victims, as a platform to improve his public image.
Seeing the smirking Russell Bishop, seeing the parents of the kids who had been murdered and knew that Bishop had done it, it was horrific.
After his acquittal, Bishop received £15,000 from the tabloid News of the World to publish his version of the story as a victim of this miscarriage of justice. In the article, the Bishop family explicitly frames Barry Fellows, Nicola's father, as being a better suspect.
He said that during the police inquiry, 9 people appeared to be suspects, and Barry Fellows was one of them. He said it was not unknown for a father to kill his daughter.
Has it been more hard to stomach in the sense that you've been accused of possibly being involved in the whole affair?
To think that anyone could think that I killed my little girl. No way. No way. No way at all. I deny it emphatically. I love that girl.
However, after a full investigation by Sussex police, they find the accusations to be baseless. Barry Fellows is completely innocent and cleared of all charges, but the damage is already done.
The house, it was covered in graffiti. Murderer, we don't want you here. Get away. Despicable people.
Nicola Fellows' father, Barry, felt moved to make a statement as to rumours and suspicion about him.
There are various people out there who have accused me of various crimes. This not only hurts me personally, it hurts my wife and son even more.
Russell Bishop got what he wanted. He's no longer the villain of his community. And on February 2nd, 1990, the Sussex police send Bishop a letter confirming that the case of the babes in the wood is officially closed, which means someone has gotten away with murder. February 4th, 1990, 2 days after Bishop receives that letter, is the day 7-year-old Rachel is kidnapped.
We're just going to talk about what we talked about yesterday at the hospital, okay?
Come on.
Yeah.
At around 4 p.m., Rachel is out roller skating while her dad is working in the garden.
It was really sunny. It was really warm. My dad gave me £1 to go to the local sweet shop, but because we'd been living there not very long, I got lost.
So what did you want to buy? Little bear, trickster and monster.
Did Daddy say anything to you?
What's he say? Be careful.
I saw a man and he was fixing his car, and my dad's a mechanic. So because he was a mechanic just like my dad, I asked him for directions.
Rachel has no time to react. Without a word, the man snatches her off the street and throws her in the trunk of his car. Then the car speeds off. Rachel is terrified, but her mind remains sharp. She looks around the trunk, illuminated by the brake lights, and finds a can of WD-40 and a hammer. She starts hammering on the lid of the trunk as loud as she can, screaming at the top of her lungs.
I screamed that I would give him money because I had the £1 that my dad gave me. And his only response was, "Shut up or I'll kill you."
She then starts to untie her roller skates and takes them off because she knows that without them, she stands a better chance of running away once the man opens the trunk.
Can you tell me what happened when the man stopped the car?
He took me out and then took me into the clearing in the wood.
And did he carry you straight to the clearing, or did he take you somewhere else first, or did he put you somewhere else first?
He just came straight to the clearing.
Yesterday, when we were talking in hospital, you said that the man got you in the back of the car. Do you know the man? Did the man touch you at all?
He touched me when he put me in the car and took me out to get me.
With her mom sitting next to her in the interrogation room, Rachel omits parts of the story. She says nothing about what happened in the back seat of the car. And to investigators, it means she doesn't remember.
I have a big secret. It's been in my head for the last 30-odd years. Everybody believed that he strangled me before he sexually assaulted me. I don't know whether I knew at the time. I do know the reason why I didn't talk to my parents and tell them about it earlier was because I was ashamed. When we got to Devil's Dyke, he took me out and threw me on the back seat. He told me to take off all my clothes, and I just complied. I was conscious when he sexually assaulted me.
The man then puts his hands around her throat. Rachel can't breathe, but before she can say anything, she blacks out. He then carries Rachel into the woods and abandons her, convinced that she's dead. When she comes to, Rachel is alone and unable to stand. She fumbles her way out of the bushes, but she's dizzy and keeps falling over.
I just remember it being really cold and knowing that I had to find help. I saw some headlights. My first thought was that it was him again and that he was here to finish me off.
But she quickly realizes that if she doesn't approach those headlights, she's going to freeze to death. When she finally sees a shape in the dark, it's a young couple offering a blanket and their help. After being admitted to the hospital, Rachel is reunited with her mom.
I was worried that she'd be cross because I'd lost my brand new jumper. That's what I was afraid of.
Rachel just didn't want to go to bed when she came home. And I remember Rachel was sitting on the sofa picking the thorns out of her feet. It just doesn't bear thinking about.
As a father, you think that you can protect your family, your children, but you can't. And you can't blame anybody except yourself, because that's what you're there for as a parent, isn't it? You bring them up, you protect them, and you failed. And they'll go with me to the end.
At first light, over 100 officers began the most intensive search undertaken by Sussex police since the Wild Park murder inquiry.
With the details given by Rachel, police are quickly able to start the investigation. They're looking for a white male with a mustache driving a red car. As the information is shared with the unit, detectives are informed that someone they know all too well was seen driving a red car that same night. Russell Bishop.
A couple of officers drove up to his house and saw him scrubbing, as if his life depended on it, his car.
When we opened up the boot lid, we saw the WD-40, we saw the hammer, we saw the chip marks in the lid to the boot. There was clothing fibres which later matched up to the ones that the little girl was wearing. There was blood and there was semen, immediately linking the little girl to Bishop.
Bishop is immediately put under arrest. In an effort to make sure Bishop doesn't escape justice, Rachel is asked to face her attacker once more.
I remember the lineup. I did ask, would he be able to see me?
And I'm going to ask you in a moment to look through the window at the line of men who are sitting there. I shall then ask you whether the person whom you saw on that day is here.
I don't think I let go of my mum's hand.
You think it's number 9?
The man Rachel points out is, in fact, Russell Bishop. On December 13th, 1990, Russell Bishop is found guilty of kidnapping, indecent assault, and attempted murder.
Here, a man who was acquitted of murdering 2 girls in Brighton 3 years ago has been jailed for trying to murder a girl of 7.
The judge sentenced Bishop to life imprisonment for attempted murder, 10 years imprisonment for kidnapping, and 10 years imprisonment for sexual assault.
And while everyone is relieved that he finally got what he deserved, there is no celebration in the courtroom, no cheers. Because everyone in Brighton is convinced Bishop killed Karen and Nicola in 1986, and that he should never have been allowed to walk free.
The parents of the two Brighton schoolgirls who Bishop had been cleared of murdering 3 years ago were among those in court.
It's no less than what he deserved. And it don't stop there, I'll tell you that now. My fight for justice for my daughter don't stop there.
Justice prevailed for that little girl. But the unfortunate thing is it wasn't justice for Karen and Nicola.
I say life goes on, but it don't. It's still there. It hasn't gone away from me. Do you know what I still do? I still go in shops and look for clothes for her, thinking, oh, that looked nice on her.
And while the families of Karen Hadaway and Nicola Fellows continue to fight in their daughters' names, Rachel returns to her family life. She is granted anonymity by the court and is hoping everything will go back to the way it was. And for more than a decade, she has managed to live a normal life. Until one day, the phone rings. Russell Bishop is up for parole.
I thought a life sentence is a life sentence. Then I found out that life in Russell Bishop's case meant only 14 years, just because he didn't actually kill me.
It's 2004. Rachel is now 22 years old, and the news is terrifying. Bishop, who has been in jail for the last 14 years, is due to be released at any moment. She's convinced Bishop will come back for her. It's 2005, and finally, there's hope for Rachel and for the Fellows and Hadaways. The double jeopardy law, an 800-year-old law preventing anyone from being tried twice for the same crime, is repealed. This means, with new evidence, Bishop could be retried for the 1986 murders of Karen and Nicola. But they need to act fast before he gets out on parole.
The key thing that they need is new and compelling evidence. And they only get one chance to present that evidence.
A new investigation is opened on the 1986 murder case, but gathering new and compelling evidence proves to be harder than expected.
I used to have nightmares that he would climb up a ladder and get through my bedroom window and come and finish me.
Ever since that phone call, Rachel has been terrified of Bishop being released. She's developed a condition called agoraphobia, which prevents her from ever leaving the house. As years pass, Bishop's parole continues to be denied, but until he's put away for good, Rachel will never feel at ease. Finally, in 2013, there's a break in the case.
The sweatshirt was still central to this investigation. Bishop had always denied any knowledge of the shirt at all. And Roy Green decided that he would test the inside of a tear on the cuff of the sweatshirt. And it came back with Bishop's DNA.
The discovery is huge, but there's just one problem. Scientists can't say for sure that the sweatshirt was not contaminated back in 1986. This means that any new DNA found on the sweatshirt is inadmissible. However, when the bodies were found, forensic pathologists had taken tapings from the girls' arms and kept them under seal. Back then, they didn't have the science to examine them for DNA.
When we examined those tapings, we recovered mixed profile of DNA of Russell Bishop and Karen Hadaway. This was massive for us. This was Russell Bishop's DNA on Karen Hadaway's arm.
This could be the new compelling evidence investigators need to win this case. In May 2016, Russell Bishop is taken out of his prison cell. He is convinced his parole has finally come.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of the murders of Nicola Fellows and Hadaway on or around Thursday, 9th of October 1986.
Tell us what happened to Nicola.
I've got no comment. I've got nothing to say. I'm not responsible for this. I had nothing to do with it. I mean, it's some stuff genied up 30 years later. This case has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me whatsoever. I cleared my name.
After his interrogation, Bishop is arrested and sent back to his cell to wait for his third trial. With his DNA on the girls' arms, the prosecution is convinced they have a strong case. But they have no idea that Bishop has a plausible explanation for that and it could destroy the case once more.
Russell Bishop arrived in a prison van for the start of the second trial he's faced, accused of murdering 2 schoolgirls 32 years ago. Their families were in court for the start of the trial.
It's been a long time coming, but I am smiling. We're grateful for the first time that someone's actually not slammed a door in our face.
32 years, I know.
But then we did say that we'd come to this park every year until we got justice.
That's right, justice.
October 16th, 2018. Russell Bishop's retrial for the murders of Karen Hadaway and Nicola Fellows begins. When the prosecution shows the evidence to the court, the defense insists the sweatshirt was not Bishop's, and they explain why his DNA was found on Karen's arm. According to Bishop, he claims that when the bodies were found, he went to check their pulse, something apparently he had told Detective John Morton back in 1986.
I got a call asking me to come to the park where some local lads had found the bodies of the 2 girls. They had their heads down and were absolutely deflated. I was totally amazed when I saw the other guy, who turned out to be Russell Bishop. It was strange because he was standing there shuffling his feet and whistling out loud. So I asked him what happened, and he said to me, I jumped over the tree and went to the girls, and I felt both of their necks for a pulse. And I thought, well, that's really strange, because from what the other 2 had said, I knew Russell Bishop had not gone to within 15 feet of those girls on that afternoon.
Russell Bishop's argument cracks in front of the courtroom. The truth is far more disturbing. After he strangled the 2 girls to death on October 9th, 1986, Russell Bishop participated in the search the next morning. He wanted to be the first on the scene to check their pulse, so he could explain why his DNA was on the girls. The problem is, he never got the chance to get close enough. Bishop is furious. He knows he's about to lose. This is when the prosecution reveals one last bit of evidence against Bishop. Letters written by Bishop while he was on trial in 1987, sent to a 13-year-old. The letters are read out loud to the court.
And they were incredibly sexually suggestive, and clearly he didn't want those letters to be read out of court, and he started shouting from the dock that he wanted a retrial, but in fact those letters were read out.
On December 10th at 12:30 p.m., the jury is sent out to deliberate. In less than 2 hours, they come back with a verdict.
A convicted paedophile has been found guilty of murdering 2 schoolgirls found strangled and sexually assaulted near Brighton 32 years ago.
Russell Bishop is finally convicted for the murders he committed in 1986, and for which he escapes justice for 32 years. He is sentenced to an additional 36 years.
This is a moment to remember the 2 girls. We should also acknowledge the courage, persistence and dignity of Karen and Nicola's families. I sincerely hope the families can now find some peace and move forward to the next chapter in their lives.
I said that I'd never stop fighting for justice, and now them little girls can rest in peace.
I used to go into the bedroom where stuff was in the chest. When I opened the chest and all her stuff was there, and I can just smell her. When the court case finished and we got the verdict, I said, well, now she can go to her angel bed and go to sleep. She hasn't got to worry about anything now. And I know she's around. You can't see her and you can't feel her, but she's there in spirit.
If I could have a wish come true, a dream that'd come to pass, I'd ask to spend a day with you and pray that it would last. I'd run to you and hold you close. We'd laugh and smile again. We would talk about the old times and see how we've both been. My wish go ungranted, but it always will be true. I trade many of my tomorrows for one yesterday with you.
Since the trial, Rachel has been on a journey to get back control of her life. She has built a beautiful family with her loving husband.
The reason I fell in love with Jay, he made me realise what it was to actually be loved, and he made sure that I felt it. I had my first daughter when I had just turned 22. She's turned out to be absolutely beautiful. All my children have. I'm very proud of each of them. I'm hoping by telling my story, I will be able to put myself back in the now. I don't want to stay a prisoner of my past. And I'm hoping that I can stop hiding. I want to be able to go out and spend time with my family and have dates with my husband and go to a pub and sit in a beer garden in the sunshine. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm still here. And I've still got a fighting chance.
Good, good. That's it then. That was very good. Right, the time's now 2:30 and we're concluding the interview. Wave cheerio to the camera. That's that then. Okay?